Hey y'all, Josh McQueen here for Savage Run Ranch Spice Company. And we're gonna do a cook video today on some St. Louis spare ribs. Really simple, easy cook. Gonna be doing this today on a pellet grill. We're going to be doing our cook with our Smoky Mountain Bourbon Blend. That's gonna be our spice from our company. And a little help from a couple of friends here. This is gonna be a spicy St. Louis rib. Is going to have a little bite to it, so we're going to add just a little bit of Melinda's scorpion sauce. Super hot stuff. One of my favorite off-the-shelf brands of barbecue sauce. There's a lot of little brands I like. You know, it's kind of like you got your beers out there where you can just go and buy the standard issue beers, but you got your craft beers that are way better. However, this is kind of a standout on the shelf blend. I love Stubbs barbecue sauce. I really don't roll with a lot of other barbecue sauces off the shelf, at least in the you can find sort of nationally. It's great stuff. This is the spicy. And then an interesting binder. Most people use mustard, or a lot of people use mustard on ribs for a binder. And we're just gonna toss it up a little bit here, shake it up a little bit, and we're gonna be using Arbys sauce for a binder today. So let's get right into this. All right, so one of the big keys of ribs is you need to find the membrane. So this is something that's skipped over a lot, although there's a lot of good cook videos out there that make note of it now. On the back side of your ribs, and potentially sometimes even up towards the front and the top, but usually on the back side, just about a third or 2/3 of the way over, sometimes through the whole thing, there's a membrane here. And so regardless of how well you cook, how low and slow you go, if you don't eliminate that membrane, you're gonna have a pretty tough rib to cook. So I'm just gonna start to pry this membrane up with a really sharp knife. You want a super sharp knife. And we're just gonna start to pry that membrane up. Sometimes you can get it started by peeling it back with your fingers. And I've got a little bit of okay, I'm gonna go in from the top here because that seems to be working a little bit better for me. And once you get enough of it opened up and you get a good grip on there, you should be able to carefully peel that membrane back. Okay, so we're pretty much through the membrane, and now I've just got to trim some ends. Got a little bit of an end here that I don't like, a little bit of an extra spare bone on the outside. We're just gonna cut that out. Trim this puppy up, get it nice and square. And then always towards the thick end of the St. Louis, there's a little bit of fat cap there. Some people leave it, some don't. I prefer to remove most of that fat cap out of there because it just doesn't match the rest of the rack, and I just don't want the cook to be inconsistent. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim my big end fat cap off. All right guys, we're done with trimming and getting our membrane off. Now we're ready for the fun part. So first thing we're gonna do before we get our main binder on, because we want these to be super spicy ribs, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put a little bit of this Melinda's scorpion. We don't wanna go too crazy with this. And while I'm doing this, Big Al, my cameraman, you wanna grab me my brush right there off the shelf. And then we're going to go ahead, and so I've just got a couple of dots right through and of the Melinda's, and then we're going to go ahead and add our Arbys on top of that and brush it all around for a nice binder. All right, we got our Arbys here. Make a couple of lines on both sides of the Melinda's. Oh, that's not a very good line. Doesn't matter, it's all getting brushed around. And we'll just go back and forth through the hot sauce until we get a nice even coat. And we've got that binder now brushed just about as evenly as possible. See a couple of chunks of scorpion pepper in there. Whoever gets that bite is going to be screaming for mercy. All right, let's get our Smoky Mountain Bourbon Blend from Savage Run Ranch. Heck yes. Nice even coat here. Trick to this, if you want a good, even coating, is just take your time. It's that simple. Remember, this is art. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Now don't worry about removing a little bit of what we just put on there on a top coat, because once we get, and so I'm not going overboard on the seasoning, is once we get this on the grill, we're gonna go ahead and touch it up about an hour or so in, and we will touch it up and give it a nice even coating of our seasoning. So we have even seasoning all the way through. And I'll have to help myself on that just a little bit here. When I get to that part of putting it on the top, side to side. Smoky Mountain Bourbon Blend, and that's going to give us a little bit, being that this is one of our sweeter seasonings, not as sweet as our smoky and sweet Carolina barbecue, but it's fairly sweet seasoning, and so it's going to kind of counteract with that, with all the heat that we've packed into this. A little bit more on the top. And guess what's next, guys? We're ready to go out to the rack and get her on the smoker. Okay, and what am I using today? Bear Mountain. Some Bear Mountain pellets. A gourmet blend, which is a balanced kind of all-around pellet. Pretty good on everything. Because we're running a lot of stuff through the smoker today, I want a pretty good universal pellet. I really like mesquite for ribs, or sometimes if I want a sweeter rib, an apple. But we're using that today because we're running a whole bunch of stuff through the smoker. We're gonna run steaks today, we're running chicken, we're running some hot dog burn ends later on, so I just want a general pellet. Let's go to that smoker. All right, guys, putting them on. I'm putting them on here at 225, and they're gonna be in here for about 6 hours. Okay, guys, we're a little over an hour in on our ribs, so we're gonna go ahead. I want that even coating that I told you about, so we're just gonna come back now. There's an old saying, if you're looking, you ain't cooking, so we don't wanna mess with this too much, but we do wanna go ahead real quick here, and we're gonna go ahead and give it one more coating, the final coating of our Smoky Mountain Bourbon Blend. Okay, there you go. Now, they're gonna stay in there for another close to 5 hours. All right, guys, if you remember on our ribs today, we wanted to do a little extra kick. So we put that Melinda's scorpion hot sauce on there, and we did a binder with Arbys. Now we're gonna do Stubbs spicy, so his spicy version. So let's go ahead, pull this up. See, we're starting to pull back from our bones pretty good. You see they're getting a little loose. They're not gonna pull out yet. We've still got a ways to go. Now, I like to go ahead and do this in 2 steps, okay? If I flip that over right now, a lot of that's just gonna run down in there. So we're gonna go ahead and give that. I know it slows the cooking time down a little bit. I'm not worried about that. I got all day to hang out on the ranch, and the weather's just starting to get nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that start to caramelize up a little bit, start to adhere to that rib, and then we'll come back and we're gonna sauce the presentation side, the top side of the rib. All right, guys, now it's time to sauce that top side, that presentation side. You can see that bottom side, it's really started to adhere to the rack. so we don't have to worry about that running down off of the grill. So quick flip. Well, look at that presentation side. And for me, on St. Louis especially, but any rack of ribs, I'm pretty big on trying to get that sauce about as even as possible. So it takes a decent amount of brush work to do that. Yeah, we're looking good. We're pulling back from the bone pretty good. Don't really have that super loose texture yet, and that's because I still have probably a couple hours to go. And once this sauce caramelizes, then a real important part of getting that super fall off the bone rib is I'm gonna get ready to wrap them. We're gonna wrap them in a little bit of butter and brown sugar. All right, guys, our ribs are ready for the final stage, which is the tenderizing stage. We're gonna get them wrapped and get them right back out here. Okay, first thing we're gonna do, we wanna make this quick so we don't lose internal temperature too much. We're gonna give them one more little coat, just a little coat here of our Smoky Mountain Bourbon Blend. Nice little sprinkling. Now we're gonna take our butter. We're just gonna spread that out. We'll do it the easy way. Just gonna take a stick of butter here. Unwrap that puppy. We'll just go ahead and cut off some little chunks. And we're gonna spread those out, top and bottom. And cut this. One stick is plenty enough. Ribs do so well juicing up on their own. All right, let's go ahead and get that foil under there. Actually off to the side, which will be maybe a little out of the view, maybe not too bad. I'll go ahead and get my bottom pieces down. Okay. We'll lay those on there. Put, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and get this sugar a little bit. I'm not gonna go crazy on this. It's just gonna start to melt down and blend in. So we're just gonna sprinkle a little across the top. You don't wanna go excessive. I want these to be pretty spicy, which we've done a lot with the sauce. So I'm not gonna go overboard on sweetening these up. I'm more using this sugar for the caramelization. We'll put the rest around the base and stagger our butter. There you go, get our top. The bottom piece, very important to fold all that up. Make sure you got a good boat. Make sure your sides are all up and around there so that that's not leaking. You want to soak in the moisture. Top piece of foil. And let's get them back out to the smoker. All right, in they go for their final cook and tenderization. This part for me, it just varies. We'll see how we go, but I'm gonna guess only about I mean, they're already so tender. They've done so well. Outside today, they've cooked really well. It's like been the perfect amount of temperature and wind. So I'd say another hour and a half and those babies will be ready to go. All right, guys, the magic hour. The time has come to pull the ribs off of the pellet grill. And we're just gonna go pull them off here in we'll take them in, and I'll probably have to rest them for a little while. So we'll go ahead, and I should have brought my gloves. I'm gonna run and get my gloves. That tray was a little warm. Okay, this might make it a little easier. All right, we're gonna take these puppies in. Okay guys, this is it. The big grand reveal. She's had about a half hour to rest here. I don't know what's underneath here. We're gonna find out. Aww. I would say, I think we probably did all right. Obviously, the ultimate test here is going to be how easy it is to remove these bones. But if you look at this rack, if I pick that up, that thing is going to fall apart. Let's grab a bone. Just a 2-finger pull. Pretty darn clean. I think we're in good shape here. So let's just get a little hunk of that here. See what we got. Oh man, I'm trying to get a piece without the whole thing. Just look at that. Well, boneless ribs it is. It's super hot still, so I know I'm about to burn my mouth off, but let's just get a little nibble of that bark. Man, that Stubbs spicy sauce, pretty good. And our Smoky Mountain Bourbon, you can taste all that. Those are money. Absolute money. Well, all the food I've eaten today, I'd love to tear these apart. I'm gonna finish that one, and I'm gonna get them wrapped up before Big Al gets back over here and snatches a piece. That's it, guys. You know, this is a super simple recipe. And of course, just modern pellet grills make everything so much easier. You don't have to babysit them. I think we got that done right at, looking at the clock over there, it's about right at 6 hours, right? So sweet, that's pretty easy. Man, these are just perfect. Absolute, look at the juice just flowing out of them puppies. And yeah, the Savage Run spice to the rescue. Makes it great, easy, good ribs, perfect cook, easy recipe to follow. I just can't say enough about how easy. I think I've said that 14 times already. Just there's nothing to it to make great, perfect ribs at home. Way better than anything I'd go out and pay good money for. We'll have more recipes, guys. Follow along. Check us out on the website, Savage Run Ranch, brand new company. And we're loving this spice company we're doing here, out here on the property. Just something that we enjoy doing, cooking, and so we thought we'd give this a whirl, and so far everybody seems to love the product. We're going to have more easy recipes to follow, and plenty of cooking videos to come, so stay tuned here on YouTube or TikTok. Subscribe, it helps us out a ton, and we'll see you next time.